Yeah, so Lamont Roach is fighting Jose Zepeda Saturday. I mean, like this all this Keyshawn and Devin stuff. It's got the game mixed up right now. In general, Golden Boy throws in lethargic fight week. Even when they had Canelo, they fight weeks are very lethargic, and this is no exception. Golden Boys fights don't have any swag to them, any hip to any hop. They don't know how to throw a fight weekend. Nobody cares about the grand arrivals. Um, it's just lethargic. It's a lethargic weekend. They don't know how to master the art of marketing and promoting their fight week. I believe they in Vegas, and nobody people are talking about a purse bid before they're talking about this particular fight. Now, this particular fight is very, very interesting. Once you look at it, Lamont Roach coming off 2 draws. A lot of people believe it was 2 victories. A guy that a lot of people said lucked up and got a world title in a very ugly fight. And didn't think people didn't think he was that good. I'll be real with you. I didn't think he was as good as he turned out, but maybe it was the weight cut. He won the title. I think it was versus Hector Luis Garcia. He won the title or something like that. They don't show the WBA on here, but coming off 2 draws, 5'7", 68-inch arms. I think the weight gain was really, really good for him. Gaining that additional, 5 pounds in real weight, probably 10 pounds in rehydration, additional 8 to 10 pounds of rehydration. But he only got 1 loss, and that was to Jamel Herring. He got 3 draws on his resume. And that original draw came against Orlando Cruz, the pride of Puerto Rico. And he be taking on William Zepeda, a guy that's 33, only 1 loss with Shakur Stevenson. Got dropped by Tevin Farmer. People thought he robbed Tevin Farmer without a gun and a mask on. 5'9", 69.5-inch arms for him, and that ain't gonna matter because he don't use his reach. He'd be a better fighter, if he learned to really take. He's kind of like a young pitcher with a big arm. If he learns how to change the speeds of his punches, he would be a phenomenal fighter. If you ask me, he'd be a lot better fighter. But he likes to throw everything at the same speed, everything hard. And Lamont Roach has got to understand in this fight. I believe they in Vegas, right? Yeah, they're at the Virgin Hotel. He has to understand in this situation and in this fight is that he has to come for a knockout. He at least has to get a knockdown in this fight. He's already down 2 to 3 rounds already, fucking with Golden Boy. Being in old Mexico, he has to come and he has to come in great conditioning. He has to come and not just throw one counter shot. When you fight somebody like Zepeda, how do you break that up? Break them combinations up. You gotta punch with them. You gotta counter with combinations. A lot of times you see people counter guys who throw a lot of punches with 1 shot at a time. 1 shot. If they throw 2-3 shots and counter with 2 or 3 shots, they might have a lot more success. You know what I mean? So this is just gonna be a fight of Lamont Roach. It kind of plays into Zepeda's favor. Lamont Roach is not a big puncher, not a lot of output. They're probably going to rob him. If I had to be a guessing man, I would say Zepeda's probably going to win a controversial decision, maybe a majority split decision, maybe even into the draw. That's my opinion on it. I think there's going to be a dash of controversy in there somewhere. Lamont Roach came up short a couple times in a row. I think he's about to come up short again just for the simple fact he don't have a lot of punching power, for the fact he don't throw a lot of punches. In this fight, he's going to have to throw a lot of punches, man. He's going to have to, go to the body. He's going to have to use his jab. He's going to have to punch with Zepeda, counter him with 3 or 4 shots. And they're going to let Lamont Roach, they're going to let Zepeda outwork Lamont Roach. They're going to say he threw more punches. And Lamont Roach is going to get robbed. Lamont Roach has got to come with that mentality to really go out there and get a knockout. He need, or if not, some knockdowns. That's just the reality of it. Zepeda has the style to probably look like he beat Lamont Roach. Lamont Roach can't be passive. Lamont Roach, when you fight a guy like Zepeda, high stamina, high volume, body work, combinations and combinations, combination, counter punching and combinations. Be first, put him on the back foot, show angles. He has the ability to win this fight, but I just think it's gun in a mass time. You do the math for my Juicy J voice. That's just my opinion. But if he gonna win this fight, he gonna use a jab. He gonna punch with Zepeda in combination. He gonna rip the body. He gonna turn Zepeda, and he gonna be first. Those are the things he got to do on a consistent basis. If he ain't punching in combination, he better be first. You know what I'm saying? You know, if he ain't first and punching in combination, he better be touching. He better be touching Zepeda body because Zepeda throw a lot of punches. So touch his body, he get tired. You know, those are the simple victory for Zepeda. You just got to keep Lamont Roach on the ropes. You keep his back on the ropes. You know what I'm saying? It's, you know, they gonna give it to you. You already got the crowd backing you up. You got the, you know, Golden Boy backing you up. They about to rob Lamont Roach, or Lamont Roach about to lose. I don't want to just say it's about to be a gun in the mask, but it's a bad spot to be in Vegas. He throw a lot of punches, and people could say, "Well, Tevin Farmer did this." Well, that motherfucker still lost that first fight. So if he want to win this fight, man, him and his father, they can't be laid back. They got to come out there with the mentality, we got to stop this guy. And how do you stop him? Be first, punching combination, punch to the body, come in the best condition that you can come. You come in the best condition that you can come in. Come in the best shape of your fucking life. That would be my advice to him. Come in the best shape in your life. You know, and if he don't do those four things, that he needs to do those four things to win the fight, he ain't gonna win. He ain't gonna win. If he don't do those four things, he ain't gonna win the fight. And for Zepeda, he just gotta move his hands and put Roach on the back foot. Roach, I mean, it's crazy how we got guys that weigh, that weigh, 140 pounds, 30 pounds, or they make that weight and they don't throw no punches. To me, that's an amazing feat. They make that weight and they don't throw no punches. That's amazing to me. These dudes need to throw punches, but Zepeda, if he ever can learn to use a jab and learn to take stank off his punches and change the speed off his punches, kind of use angles, base a little wide, but I get it. He coming forward. This is gonna be an interesting fight. Zepeda need to get with Chavez and learn how Chavez really got up under his opponents and use angles. He don't use no angles. That dude got to learn how to get his head off the line, use it's just offense. And I never really understood kind of that concept of big punchers or speed or pitchers with big arms. A lot of times they gotta learn master the accuracy too. But when you think about it, a lot of them gotta throw their arm out or have a Tommy John surgery to learn how to throw off speed pitches. I don't. One thing I always thought like this growing up. Like, why can't it happen to me? A lot of people live in a world of, oh, this can't happen to me, or this will never happen. A lot of people have that mindset. When you see something happen to somebody, it only becomes a reality that it can or it can happen to you when it hit close to home. That's when it becomes a reality. But a lot of people don't think it can happen to him. I remember Nate Campbell was on live with us. He was talking about I think it was live. He was talking about Mike Jones. And anybody remember Mike Jones? He was the welterweight, big welterweight. He was like 6'2", muscular. And he was telling Nate that he had never been dropped, dropped in sparring, and he had this granite chin. And Nate said he told us, he said, yo, if you hang around long enough in this sport, it's gonna happen to you. And he fought Randall Bailey. This is a guy that Earl Spence was alleged they was ducking or hid for him. And I don't blame that motherfucker neither. I wouldn't fought that nigga neither on my mama. I wouldn't fight no nigga like Randall Bailey. If you know, you know. And he knocked Mike Jones, man. He was saying who never heard from again. So a lot of people live in this false reality that it can't happen to you, dog. It can. I always lived in that reality. If it can happen to anybody, it can happen to you. A lot of people, but in general, Lamont Roach got to be more aggressive in this fight. He got to take the fight to Zepeda in this fight, or they gonna take it from him. They gonna take it from him. And if he know this, and understand his circumstances, then you gonna get an aggressive Lamont Roach come August 1st, Saturday. You're gonna get an aggressive Lamont Roach. And if he don't believe Fat Meat Greasy, you're gonna get a Lamont Roach that's gonna come in there and who had a draw his last two fights, which he should have stepped it up even more. And when you don't have that big punching power, when you don't have the most monstrous punching power, when you don't have that punching power, then you have to make it up with volume. You have to make it up with volume and defense. You got to make people miss, and you got to make people pay, and that's just what it is. Make them miss, make them pay. That's the reality of it. When you lack something, and even if I had a fighter that had power, we ain't we acting like you don't got power. We acting like you don't got power. That's the reality I'm living in. I'm acting like Buddy don't got power. We training to hone those skills, but it's just these fighters be thinking that, oh, I can just knock everybody out. I can just blow past everybody. I can do this. I could do that. That's what the reality they live in until it don't happen no more. Until the arm go out, until they get hurt, or they get knocked out, or whatever that situation may be. So, but yeah, Roach and old buddy, it's a good fight. We can look who on the undercard real quick. We can look on the undercard. Give me a minute. So you got Roach, Moratella, and Roberson Casiaco. Barul Carriel, he's fighting Quentin Randall, the guy that allegedly hurt Errol Spence to the ribs. Charles Conwell is fighting Paul Crow. There's some good fights on here. Some good fighters' names I noticed on here. So I might even tap in for this, man. I'm probably taking that. I'm probably gonna tap in for this. This is a solid card by Golden Boy. I'm somebody that get credit where credit is due. This is a solid card by Golden Boy. So I can't say it wasn't no solid card, but this is a solid card. So real solid card. So I mean,